Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 172. I'm Chris, and of course I am joined by none other than the man who travels to hot places, Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hello. You'd be surprised at how not hot Houston, Texas was. It was actually temperate and pleasant.
I do believe I saw some socks and sandals in pictures.
And it was magical. That really is my dream, to go to work in bare feet, sandals, and shorts. That was a milestone in my life. It's one of those things off the bucket list, and I've grown as a human from that experience.
Nice. And of course that laugh that you heard there was none other than the star of stage and screen, Mr. at Harry Hall. Hi, Harry.
I'm actually wearing shorts and flip-flops now because summer is starting in the Netherlands. And since I work at home, this is my office attire.
It was 27 degrees here today, I do have to say.
We're not there yet. We are about 21, 22 degrees yesterday. And
I had to crank the AC on my way home today from work. Traffic was
we don't have an
slow
AC here. Nobody has an AC in the Netherlands.
Oh, air conditioning is a godsend.
Well, offices do, but no. I know. I want that, but it's just too expensive.
All right.
They make portable units now. Like you don't even have to pipe it into your ventilation system.
All right. I'm gonna get Steve to connect Layanor to the call here. Steve, go ahead. All right. Layanor, are you there?
Yeah.
So what? Pray tell, was this?
That's a hobby.
Uh-huh. Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It sounded painful. I should see a doctor soon.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. It's your show now?
Don't fire me.
Your show. Right. And
Actually,
there we go.
Steve never left. I never knew that, but Steve never left.
Yeah. So we'll talk after the show. Steve, you make a note, please, about this because Layanor and I need to talk.
I vote Steve takes Layanor's place.
Yeah.
I vote we give Steve Layanor's paycheck.
You know what?
No.
How about we give Steve double Layanor's paycheck?
Yep. I approve this.
Steve is grinning ear to ear.
All right, Layanor, though, you can stay for this show, but it is on a conditional basis. If I feel the need to end a call, don't think that I will hesitate, because I will. Is that understood?
And I will beg you not to sing. I beg of you.
All right, since you can't sing, Layanor, why don't you tell us about what you have been doing in game? Coughing? Okay,
I have not done very much at all. Except for doing a little bit of Lotro. I'm a couple % higher in my rank in the PvP area, and that was about it.
Wow, that's not a very busy week for you.
No, I was celebrating a lot.
That's good. Celebrating is good. I like to celebrate. Celebrate
Celebrate
good times.
Come on.
Harry, it's scary how we think alike. It's really scary. I think we need to see a doctor or at least a counselor.
A couples counselor.
Oh man.
I volunteer. Chris, how does that make you feel?
Well, you did go into sports psychology at university. That's close enough, right?
Chris, hold this soccer ball. How does that make you feel?
Oh man.
Oh god, this is the best kind of therapy ever. Just random sports equipment. A treadmill. Oh god, I'm so depressed. Come on, do 30 laps.
Harry, here's a cricket bat.
Oh. All right.
Just see how it feels. And how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Please, can we keep going? Bill, you've been away for a few weeks. What has been taking up your gaming time while you have been traveling?
Well, not much actually, because one of the things I did discover about Houston, awesome town, would happily go again, by the way, loving Houston, Texas, except they seem to have an issue with infrastructure there. Like most cities power their internet, or they actually use electricity to broadcast internet, whether it's over cable or sometimes wireless providers and that kind of thing, but it's generally based off of like a grid electrical system. In Houston, I found out that they actually use, you remember those potatoes you used, the potato batteries you made in science experiments back in elementary school?
Mm-hmm.
This is what Houston has. They
daily.
have a medium-sized grid of potato batteries that run the entire internet infrastructure. So it's enough to get the odd tweet out here or there, but really not very helpful for some of the more industrial gaming that we like to engage in.
I want one.
You want one?
Well, let me tell you, Layanor, you could get down to the grocery store for only just a tiny bit more than what your paycheck is worth, and you too can make yourself a potato battery-powered internet.
Steve, I need to borrow some money.
So, anyway, once I recovered from the tuber network, I actually did play one day's worth, and when I say one day, I mean probably like an hour or two worth of the WildStar beta, which I played on the what's the bad guy side, the Dominion side. I had to see. I'm not going to play it in real life when game actually happens or anything, but I tried it just to see how the other side lived. And
Did you make a Chua at least?
No, I made what was the robot race.
What's the point of Makari? What's the point of playing Dominion if you're not going to play Chua? Because the only point of playing Dominion is to play Chua so that you can get a freaking hamster ball.
You know that how I feel about short characters, Chris. The
Hamster
Azura
ball as a mount. Hamster ball as a mount.
The exception to the rule that short characters are invariably stupid comic relief that absolutely do not need to be there.
Ooh, I agree with that.
Actually, it looks a lot like the the Ratchet and Clank character, the hamster. It's almost an evil version of that.
I've noticed that a few times.
I actually asked them about that, and they vehemently denied it, that there was any similarity, except the fact that it's a yellow creature with long ears that is short and fuzzy, which is the exact same character design, but with an evil laugh.
I'm going to say this just one more time. A fucking hamster ball as your mount.
We have some
Look
audio
at the
problems
live
again.
stream. Look at the live stream. Yeah, yes.
Chris, there's some weird beeping again. I don't know.
A freaking hamster ball as your mount. Look at the live stream. That is how awesome it is.
Okay. I will go to Twitch, or as it's later to be named YouTube.
YouTube.com/live/
more majestic and empowering than a hamster ball. I guess I don't really have an argument for that.
I would say for a hamster, that would be 2 hamster balls. At least the male ones.
Well, I don't need an argument. I do actually, Harry, need a little bit of forgiveness because I did a thing.
You did a thing?
I did a thing. Some would call it a sin, kind of. I may have I
What
may
did
have
you do?
pre-ordered something.
Oh God,
Oh.
no! Poor guy. Why?
Bill.
I was sitting there and I was hovering over the buy now button, and I thought, why not? What's the harm? I'm gonna buy it anyway.
Right.
So I did.
Good
And
job.
it happened.
So you got Archage?
No. No, I'm on the WildStar train. I will be
Woo!
tooting
Woo!
through Nexus starting on May 31st with all the other keeners.
Yay.
So I broke the pre-purchase rule. I really didn't want to, but I did.
And you're
I
actually
did
going
kind
to
of
be
want
playing
to.
it on day one.
51% of me wanted to.
Well, how can you ignore the majority? I mean,
Correct.
that wouldn't be democratic.
Correct. And by the way,
Canadian way.
we will be having a big live stream event that day for all of our listeners. So Selene and I for sure, and we'll be trying to get as many people on throughout the day to talk about WildStar and see how things go. But that'll be on the 31st, and we won't be streaming the 1st because Bill and I are going away. We're actually traveling to the same place.
Road trip.
Two road trips in a row, 2 weeks in a row, Bill. I don't know if I can handle
know.
this.
With laptops and internet, of course.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
You'll be driving, but I'll be playing WildStar.
And a bunch of potatoes in the trunk.
That's right,
Yep.
potato powdered internet.
You bet. Well, we'll see. Anyway, after I sinned terribly, I actually did log into Guild Wars 2 for a while and enjoyed the last moments of a Guild Wars 2 institution, which we're going to talk about later in the show. But it was a little bit of ignorant bliss before the hammer fell on patch day.
Hey, but before that, though, Harry, why don't you talk about the cartoon that you linked me on Twitter and that you just linked in the show notes as well, the Penny Arcade?
Well, it's always terrible to tell somebody else's joke, but there's a Penny Arcade cartoon about WildStar.
I should read half of it, and Chris should read the other half. The two characters.
Okay, I'll do
Ooh,
Tycho.
yes, let's cosplay it.
I'll do Tycho.
Hold on, let me get my Penny Arcade t-shirt.
Okay, so I need to start, right?
Yeah.
Ready? I played a ton of WildStar last night before I realized I wasn't on a quest.
What were you doing? Farming elite mats? Were you grinding rep, waiting for rare drops? Were you trying to get Mandible or something?
I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. I was just having fun.
Huh, so you're basically wasted an entire night.
No.
Gee.
Actually, it is more fun if you see the cartoon. But
Yeah.
a dramatic reading of a Penny Arcade cartoon, maybe a first in podcast history.
Maybe that needs to be a new segment on the show.
I
Chris
don't
sounded
think
too
so.
serious.
Dramatic reading of a
Very
Penny Arcade
self-conscious.
cartoon.
You know, no. I before you poo-poo this, Harry, I think there's something here. I think it actually requires good acting, but I think it could work.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
Anyways,
Maybe we could say it really, really slowly and then speed it up a little bit for when we release it, and then
Oh,
just
God,
say
no.
yep all the time.
Holy cow! Did you not hear anything I said, Chris?
All right.
Move on.
Bill, I think you were done. Harry, what
That
do you
was
go?
yeah. Sorry, that was my week. How about you, Harry? When you weren't reading Penny Arcade, what were you doing?
Well, what did you play, Harry? Well, what I played was Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is the game that Chris keeps ignoring because it's actually freaking awesome. It's a space sim, and the game is currently in alpha. It's basically a reboot from the game that I played as a kid when I was, back in the 80s. I was very young. When I was young, I played a very good game. Elite Dangerous is now in alpha. That means it is thoroughly not finished. And I do not accept that. I'm very angry about that. Because they have promises that are not yet in the game. Can you believe that for an alpha?
That's
For any
That's
game
crap. Let's kill
releasing
them all.
with things that they've promised that don't end up making the final game, I mean that's just ridiculous.
Okay, I can tell you what's in this game, and an actual space shooter in the vein of Privateer or Wing Commander. In the sense, it's not like Eve at all. Eve is just a click fest. It's you click on the ship, you do stuff, but it's kind of like you're playing an RTS with one unit. And I love Eve, but I don't want that from a space sim. This game puts you in the cockpit, a virtual cockpit. And if you have an Oculus Rift, and I'll get to that later, you can actually be in the cockpit. You can actually look around and play the game as if you were actually there. The game is actually going to have walking in stations in a future update. And the ability, and this is one of the coolest things I've ever heard, as the game progresses, they will allow you to land on planets and walk around in stations and walk around on planets that are procedurally generated in a full revolving galaxy. The galaxy currently already has 200 million stars. And each star, if it has planets, has its own system of planets and moons that are all procedurally generated, revolving in real time. And most of the stars that we see, or all the stars that we are actually aware of existing, are modeled in their correct place. So the sky will look as it should if you are at a specific place in the universe. Oh, wow. So it's our galaxy. This is cool in itself. They are promising gameplay on a level that is ridiculous. For example, if you land on a planet and you get some resources and you load them into your ship, it is possible that another player can sneak on board and hijack your ship.
No way. And someone needs to put their phone on vibrate a little further away from their mic. Just saying.
Yeah, Layanor, do that.
Come on, Harry.
Friggin' Steve, that guy.
Steve.
Anyway, but this is the promise. What's already there is a couple of stars that you can travel to. The entire galaxy is there, is modeled already. So if you pull up the map view, you can rotate view, zoom into all of those 200 million stars. And the systems that are in there are 5 or 6 systems that give you the opportunity to fly from one to the other, to trade, to do some missions, to shoot other players. And it is already the best space sim experience I've had in 20 years.
Wow.
Hands down. It's buggy as hell. It crashes. Since the update that they released yesterday, I can't even boot it up, so I have to reinstall. But it is an alpha phase, so that is not a problem. This is not, but it is so amazing to be able to finally play the game. And it is a complex space sim, as some people who might have seen my live stream for the game have seen. Navigating isn't done in the standard Eve way, that you click on a destination, start your auto pilot and jump there. You actually have to pilot your ship through each solar system manually. You go to kind of the super cruise mode, that super luminal speed, but you still have to navigate and make sure that you don't get too close to a big body. So if you see Beyonce, you really have to watch out. So if you are too close to a gravity well, so if Rush Limbaugh is next to you, you won't be able to escape. It's deadly pool. And you must. I got actually stuck near a planet, not realizing that this rule was in effect, trying to go to hyperspace. And if you do that, it actually does this countdown, and then you get this hyperspace noise of your engines revving up, and then it shuts down. And the sound effect is exactly like the sound effect you hear when Han Solo is trying to get to hyperspace in The Empire Strikes Back.
That's
it's like.
awesome.
So I was doing, when the live stream was up, I was doing all kinds of terrible. I'm misquoting Star Wars since 1973.
But it wasn't out till. But you misquoted Star Wars before it came out.
Can anyone run that was the joke clip from The Simpsons? Explain that to Chris later on. Anyway, so I played that, and it was.
So the joke was. Sorry, go ahead.
It was an amazing experience for me to finally see the game in progress, and it is awesome. And if they are, the first release is going to be just the flying in space, pirating. The full freedom you have is already there. It's not like you choose to be a class of pirate or whatever. You can just do stuff, and every choice you make affects gameplay. It is seamless, and it is multiplayer. So it's actually an MMO-like experience.
Cool.
Docking in stations is really like flying a flight sim. You get a landing pad assigned to you inside the station. So first you have to fly into it, then you have to find your landing pad, then you have to navigate towards it and touch down softly. Don't forget your landing gear. So it is a sim, and
So-
that is fantastic.
Is it possible in that whole thing to get dock blocked?
Yes, actually, I had some moments that I tried to get permission to dock, and the permission was denied. So my dock was blocked.
Jerks.
Jerks.
No reason to dock block a guy.
It
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool.
Anyway.
Later on, when they start adding in the other feature for landing on the stars and getting your
Landing on
resources
stars,
and all
yeah.
that,
Planets most likely than the stars.
planets, as long as it doesn't turn into like some extra game that suddenly appears for the Atari 2600 to gather all the resources, I'd be fine with it.
What they're going for is seamlessness. So there are no loading screens. If you are docking in a station, you don't have a loading screen where you go and then you see your station services. You actually fly in, you get to the pad, you drop down into the hangar, and you can access a service screen and upgrade your ship and whatever. And what they're
Wow.
talking about is actually flying into the atmosphere and landing without a loading screen. So it's not like any other game out there that you click on the planet and suddenly boom, you're there. You have to navigate the atmosphere, and they are even considering atmospheric flights for just specific atmospheric flight in planetary atmospheres that are not able to do space flight. So
Wow.
they are generating the planets with cities and with animal life and with forests, and their goal is to give people who want to explore an actual universe to explore, where they can find amazing things like remnants of lost civilizations or new life forms or first contact with other species. And all this is possible in this this computer generated universe.
Okay, but this sounds like what 3000 AD was supposed to be.
Yes. And did you
This actually
remember?
sounds
And
like
do
what,
you remember how well that
Firefly-
went?
Yeah, do you remember the ads for that actually?
Yes.
The naked lady with her legs spread with just the game in front of her privates. Good
Yeah.
ad. Less good game. I actually
hey-
bought that game and I was thoroughly disappointed. But it's kickstarted and it's privately funded, and they have this roadmap of expansion. So I think their business model allows them the time to develop things to a workable point.
Right. This sounds like the biggest competition for this is going to be Star Citizen. Bill kind of linked in our Skype chat that the dogfighting module is being released just in a few days. So
yeah,
that
I
would be...
wouldn't actually bank on that date.
Okay.
That I was looking at some of the other dates in there, and they seem a little.
Anyways, dogfighting module is
Optimistic.
going to come out sometime soon. Or reasonably soon, or soon-ish, or soon TM. But
Well, dogfighting is already in Elite Dangerous. I sincerely hope both games actually succeed, because it would be too cool. I mean, there's no need to just have one awesome space sim out there. Please give me two. Allow me to choose and see which one is the best. I have an emotional attachment to Elite Dangerous, but it doesn't mean that I'm exclusively going to play that. I'm very much looking forward to Star Citizen. But this is the one I wanted to play, and I got my hands on it. And what I've seen so far is what I wanted it to be. It already plays, and this is I think this is the essential thing for me. And I talked to friends of mine; they have the same reaction. Elite Dangerous now already plays the way most people want Eve to be. So you have a cockpit view. You have full control of your ship. The fighting is pure Twitch based, so you have to have skill. There is a trading game. The stations have actual meaning. It feels like a space sim, and Eve promises that, but everybody who plays that game for the first time says, where's the cockpit view? Why can't I control my ship directly? Well, all of that is in Elite.
Cool.
Okay, I've been gushing far too long. One of the reasons, basically, Elite brought me into kind of this mania that I want to play this game in VR, because my dream would be, and I think I will never see you again afterwards, if I can get Dangerous and an Oculus Rift and plug in, I don't think I'm ever going to come out. I think liquid food would be enough for me from then on out, and I'll just be doing that. So getting my hands on Elite basically spurred my quest to get into virtual reality. And this has turned into kind of an obsession. I've discovered some pretty interesting things out there. For example, there are VR headsets that make use of your phone for its screen. Have you heard of this?
Isn't that basically what Oculus Rift was to begin with? It was phone displays?
Basically, it's the same technology. Oculus Rift technology isn't that complicated from a tech perspective. It's just all the components were expensive before smartphones. Smartphones made gyroscopes and small light displays cheaper and more available, and that basically was a catalyst for Oculus to be, because it is one screen. At least DK1 is one screen with two lenses, and the screen is just divided into two pictures for each eye. You can do that with a phone. So there's several competing products, and one I'm going to test out for an article, and that's called the Durovus Dive. And the Durovus Dive is nothing more than a head-mounted display where you slide your phone into. It can be an Android phone or an iPhone, and if you put that on your head, you have a VR set. I didn't mean to rhyme,
But you did.
There are a couple of downsides. For example, the head tracking only works if you have software running on your iPhone. So I've been doing a little research, and it turns out that most of the stuff that I need to get Elite Dangerous working in VR with that set, I already have. For example, if I tie a gyroscopic mouse to my head, I have head tracking. You're not as enthusiastic as I think you should be. There is this software called Splashtop, which streams your PC screen to your phone. And if I turn on side-by-side mode in Elite Dangerous and then project it on my phone and slide it into the dive, I have a 3D screen in front of my face, head-tracked. And then I have a poor man's Oculus Rift.
I have a flashlight app on my phone.
You don't seem to grasp the concept of having an Oculus Rift for probably $60, $70. Rift-like. I'm not saying it's the same quality.
Rift-like. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's my new obsession. I've actually installed head tracker software. I've found that I actually discovered a Razer Hydra in my drawer. You know what that is?
That's a mouse.
No, it's not. It's actually I'm saying actually too much. It's my word of the day. It's a Wii-like peripheral for your PC. It has this sphere you put on your desk, and you have two Wiimote-like controllers that are calibrated to the magnetic field coming from the sphere. And it gives you one-to-one tracking of two hands. The cricket sounds are deafening here. I will move on. You are just not ready for cool stuff like homebrew VR systems. I'll let it slide. I played Guild Wars 2, and I was actually not in the mood anymore, because somehow if you've reached level 80 and you've done most of the dungeons and you're doing the events, it kind of feels empty.
There is a very, I don't want to say it's a defined end, because I think that's actually the problem, is that the end is not defined. It just kind of stops. And
it stops. There stops. Yeah, the game stops having a actual carrot to move on.
But there's the living story, Harry.
Now, to be fair, yeah, they have they took a couple months to kind of get rolling again after they made their big systems patch where they changed classes and they changed a bunch of mechanics and mega servers and that kind of thing. So they've been kind of catching up on that. So the living story and events should be picking up again. So there should be stuff to do there. But I don't disagree with you. There's not a vibrant end game, and that's obviously something that WildStar is selling pretty hard. And I'm hoping that I'll still be able to get my Guild Wars 2 satisfaction, but still be able to see some actual fulfilling end game.
Yeah,
end game.
It's exactly what I'm missing, and it's too bad because the game's systems in itself are fun. I still like the events as they are, but when I had the drive to get to 80 and do as many events as I could to power up and get there was this natural progression, and progression is just leveled off. There's just nothing to root for anymore, and I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go through all the zones to just complete them for the hell of it. Getting skill points now is like, why? And
you need them for precursors.
Sorry? Yeah, but I'm not.
I think you can spend them on legendary item requirements as well. Anyway, it's not a. Yeah, it seems like such a glaring flaw that they've had a year and a half to flesh out, and they haven't really.
Yeah, so I'm kind of meh about that. Finally played Final Fantasy 14, and I'm just 1,000 XP away from level 40, and the cap is 50.
You're
so
flying
I'm
through
progressing. Yeah, actually, people who are playing this for a long time have been telling me that I'm going too fast. So no more Mr. Slow here. I'm actually going
Captain
through that
Slow.
quickly. Oh, I'm promoted. Thank you.
Don't you watch?
So you take orders from me now?
Don't you watch Top
Yes,
Gear?
I do.
There you go.
But I wanted you to call me Captain.
Okay, there you go. Well, now on to the
you done
interesting
anything?
stuff. What I've done.
FTL.
We are. I just have to say we are 40 minutes into the show, and we are. We're 3/4 of the way through what we've done in game this week.
15 minutes of that can be cut.
No, like 2-3 minutes of that. I counted that.
On to
in
the
my-
news.
Yeah. No, I played WildStar in the last beta weekend. Had a lot of fun. Did some low-level stuff with Selenia with my wife. And got my warrior up a little bit higher as well. As I said goodbye, I took part in the amazingly not super awesome end of beta event where I was getting maybe 3 to 7 frames per second as the GMs spawned as some of the funny, like we had a big, huge, monstrously tall. Like I'm talking about if my character is 7 feet tall, this monster was maybe 400 feet tall, 500 feet tall. Huge rock monster, and then a giant bunny and then we had to kill it. And it just killed us, and it was annoying because we just died and then came back at 3 frames per second to try and fight. And what? So
I could swear somebody else did that. Like, that's not new. Spawning a giant bunny as your end of beta event.
Oh, no, it wasn't just a giant bunny. It's a character that's a bunny from the game. They had a various of them. They actually spawned, one was the vending machines. You know the big red vending machines in WildStar? One of those was the monster.
I want to say Dark Age of Camelot did the same thing at the end of their beta.
Yeah?
And obviously 100 times funnier when Dark Age of Camelot does it.
Do you kill it by using a carrot of truth or something?
Still think...
And where do you put that carrot when you fight
Ashron's
that
call.
rabbit?
Ashron's call, best end of beta event ever.
Still.
Will you know what? Because no dev is going to put that much effort into a storyline that's only for beta. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still thought it was awesome. And then I was on the road a lot, so I was on my iPad a heck of a lot. I played FTL quite a bit, and that is a fun game on iPad. Amazingly fun. No, Faster Than Light.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good on. I mean, I'm sure it's good on computer as well, but on iPad, it just really, really works well. I found that I did get KOTOR as well in Baldur's Gate 2, but I found that not Baldur's Gate 2, Baldur's Gate as well. I found neither of those were good for the sort of quick jump in for a little bit and then sort of have to put it down gameplay that I was looking for. So FTL was just the perfect game for that. So I played the crap out of that. Did play some KOTOR. Excuse me. And then as well, played a lot of Hearthstone. And really enjoying that on iPad as well. When I could get cell signal on my phone to hotspot to get cell signal from my iPad. And the defining moment was as I'm sitting there on the second trip that I was on in 2 weeks. And I'm playing Hearthstone. And I have one of my students looking over my shoulder saying, no, you've got too many spell cards in your deck. Oh, that's crap. Why'd you do that move? Like, I felt like I was playing League of Legends.
Yeah.
That's the amount of heckling that I was getting from my student. So, yeah, I did take a few spell cards out of my Paladin deck after that. Yeah, he might have been right. A little bit.
There's an expansion on the horizon.
For Hearthstone?
Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
haven't heard about that. How are they going to expand that?
This might be under NDA. Oh God. It's. please, don't mind the guy behind the curtain. He's calling his lawyer.
I didn't hear anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've got that marked for editing. That is edit spot 12.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just...
Continue.
And apparently Armiga heard about it too.
Kill him.
Let's
Kill them all.
Hearthstone expansion.
Yeah, Nax Ramus. That's actually true.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, so we don't have to edit that. Although now we just sound like crap. Anyways, so that's been it. A lot of iPad. I wish there was a really, really great. I just never found any of the RPGs were super fantastic. Like they felt okay on iPad, but I just got more satisfaction out of FTL and Hearthstone. So, anyways, shall we move things along? Cause yeah.
The biggest rumor of the week is Google is trying to buy Twitch for $1 billion.
You said it wrong. $1 billion.
No, you said it wrong. $1 billion.
Did you put your pinky up to your side of your mouth?
I put something up.
Oh,
I don't wanna
know. Keep going.
Anyway, maybe we should talk about the fact that Google is, Google, I'm not saying this correctly. Google is in negotiations with the biggest streaming service for video games in the world. So Twitch being owned by Google, who also owns YouTube. What do we think, guys?
It has the potential to be really, really awesome. I mean, Twitch is already doing very, very well and doing some really, really cool things. But being able to have sort of the power of Google and YouTube behind it could make it even better for gamers. Or it could restrict it. And all of a sudden, oh, look, Google Plus for everything.
But do you
I
expect
think that's what
that
a lot of people are worried about. They're worried about the Google Plus coming in and, Google coming in and putting in a lot of their apps and stuff that they already are trying to push on YouTube right now, and plus trying to shut down a lot of the copyrighted work out there, like music and there are companies that are pulling down their game videos from people that have on on their YouTube channel. So a lot of people are worried about that.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? All of a sudden, you get a big giant like Google, and do they have to police better because they've got the technology, right? Twitch can say, "Oh, well, we're just a small little startup here going on here, and we don't have the technology to watch all our channels for copyright content." But now they're bought by YouTube, which does have the technology to check all that. So yeah, what happens then? And what defines copyrighted content? We get copyright claims all the time for our content, all the time. And sometimes it's a little snippet of a song that we play, but sometimes it is absolutely just absolute fair use, stuff we're completely allowed to do as we're critiquing stuff, and we still get takedown notices, and all of a sudden we are not allowed to monetize anything. But hey, guess what? YouTube can still throw ads on there and make money from it. We just can't.
But what do you think this will...
rant.
No, that's okay. It's legitimate, because Twitch is the kind of service that is used by people like you and me who like to produce content as much as it is for people who like to watch it. But do you think this will change much? I mean, what would be the advantages? And do you think that the Twitch name will stay?
I think it's a step towards, it's another push towards legitimacy of gaming as media. It's almost like the athletic games or the esports of it. It turning gaming not into just something that you play, but also something that you watch. It's not like the light switch that suddenly makes it work, but it's another step in that direction. So I was just flipping through the news here. There's for example, a $6 million prize pool now sitting in League of Legends. It recently hit that landmark for an upcoming League of Legends championship tournament. It's, to me, I see it's that step that this is big league entertainment, and Google, or if it doesn't wind up being Google for some reason, someone is going to jump onto this media and turn it into a big deal that a big chunk of people watch.
I think you're making a very good point there. I've argued kind of the same point in a committee that I'm a member of that is kind of a ratings board for video games. Peggy, you probably know it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the advisory board for that, and I told these people that we are moving towards a age where media are not distinctly put in categories anymore. Because let's look at television. Television has ratings for age groups. Games have that. Now, a Twitch stream, what is that? Is that gaming? Is that television? Is that what are we talking about here? So if it's not categorizable anymore, but it's still a very important part of the media intake for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So I think what you're saying, that gaming becomes a mainstream thing to watch, is a very exciting and interesting possibility.
Well, and I think it's only natural too, because I mean, if you look at athletics on television, that's really became a popular thing because people like to watch the games that they like to play. We now have the technology to do the same thing easily and cheaply with video games. So it seems to me that it's a natural jump. I mean, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I'm not saying that we're going to be pulling in 1 billion viewers for League of Legends finals or anything like that, although I wouldn't necessarily be...
Wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out, no. But I'm not saying it's going to suddenly become... It's not going to replace football or baseball or hockey, or in Canada at least, anything like that. But it is going... I can see it becoming a big player and something that a big chunk of people want to tune into.
Well, maybe I don't think it's comparable. Gamers are very much a niche people because every gamer has its own tastes, and there are many more products that cater to that. A football fan or a baseball fan will just watch the big game. But the big game for a gamer, there are tons of great games. But I think the combined audience of all the people who are interested in watching video streams or Let's Play videos is growing to a rate that will rival big sports events, but not for one game.
And
So,
that's the beauty. That's where the tech
yeah.
has kind of come into it. That's where Twitch has come in. We now have a venue to deliver tons of different games, whether it's the most mainstream of mainstream, like a League of Legends, or like maybe Counter-Strike or whatever. But you've also can get the niche stuff. You can get a Guild Wars 2 PvP tournament. You can get you can watch a live going for a world first raid run in WildStar when it comes out. I mean, this is it's going to be niche stuff that might only get thousands or tens of thousands of viewers. I put only in air quotes there. The technology's there and it works the same whether you're doing a smaller event like that or a mega event like I said, like League of Legends.
I wonder how many people watch Twitch on, every day combined.
Well,
'Cause
that's
that's a lot of
would love
ad.
to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ad revenue. I mean, I
Check
had
that
a
chart
I had a
that's
ton
right
of-
underneath there.
I had a relatively large group of people watching my Elite Dangerous stream, which was very. And it's exactly what you say. People are looking for specific things and can find it there. So I'm excited by the prospect of this getting bigger than it already is, but then again, it's Google, so fuck.
If you believe Polygon.com, there's more than 45 million people watching Twitch streams every month. So you
I
can
would say that's a
extrapolate from
lot.
that, I guess. Oh yeah.
If you imagine that there are like 17 million people in my country.
And it's funny how, for MMOs at least, you can have people who watch things like raids or runs, or sometimes it's just personalities and they're just grinding through their crafting, but you follow for the personality, follow for the stupid stuff that they say and stuff like that.
But yeah, but that's the icing on the cake. That's what makes the stream fun to watch.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's move things along. Interesting rumor. It'd be interesting to see what comes of it. Bill.
Well, speaking of interesting rumors, see, this story actually made me a little sad. All the 38 Studios stories make me a little bit sad, but this one is just it's almost like a double kick in the junk. Massively reported a story today regarding the status of the financials for 38 Studios, and basically that even during the development of the games that they were making, that both the CEO of the company and the EDC board, which is the Rhode Island government side of it, as I read this and understood it, both were very much aware that the $75 million that was funded to 38 Studios wouldn't be enough to actually fund what they were building, and they knew this well before the big blow up and court battle and everything like that. So essentially, it was never a secret that it was underfunded and that they were going to need some kind of miracle to pull out the money that they needed to carry on and finish what they'd started. And to me, that just hurts. I feel bad for everybody who, obviously the fans who were interested in the game and were hoping that it would come out, but also the people who had set their career on working on this game and everything, and producing this. It just feels like a whole lot of working for nothing, and to me it just hurts and sad. I mean, the whole notion that I'm going to work every day and ultimately it's because there's a whole bunch of people out there that know that it's for absolutely no reason, but I'm still doing it anyway. That just has a feel in my chest that hurts deep.
Right, and it's even made worse by the fact that 38 Studios was one of the first studios to go into this state. It was to Rhode Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were, sort of meant to be the beginning of the spearhead of having a whole bunch of game studios out there, but they were, the first big one. So all those people who were working there, who sold their houses wherever they were, moved with the studio to Rhode Island, bought houses, got their mortgages there, all that sort of stuff. We heard about all this stuff when it collapsed. This was not just mismanagement. This was utter fraud that they were committing, and it really screwed over their employees. And that really ticks me off, that people would uproot themselves and move when the heads up of the company were like, hey, we're not going to be able to finish this thing. Well, shut up. Let's just keep going as long as we can. The money will turn up at some point. Well,
and that's it. I mean, that's not a bad philosophy to take, that, let's keep hunting for money. Let's hope we get the capital. But to keep that hidden and keep that a secret
employees,
from everybody, from all the employees, from the fans, from funding bodies and that kind of thing, it stinks. It just stinks.
Yeah.
What I just don't get is the discrepancy is so big. I mean, I would have not batted an eye if they would have thought, okay, we can make this game for, let's say, 80 million and we have 75 million. The hell with it. We're going to do it anyway and we'll find a way to get that last bit. But this is almost half they were missing. Because I just can't conceive of, for example, creating a movie or doing anything like that where you don't have at least 90% of your funding complete. Because you can, I mean, you can launch a game that's 90% done, but you can't launch a game that's 50% done. Then you get debacles like Vanguard.
Right.
And that if you do it like that, then you will just go down the drain, and it boggles the mind.
Well, let's think about this here for a sec before we go too far. They did release a single player game, and for all we know, they could have been banking on that to be the remainder of the funding. I don't know if it's I know it's not reasonable for them to hope to get $50 million worth of capital out of that one game release, but I'm thinking they were hoping that would buy them more time than it actually did. But you think about that, the hoping for funding and everything like that. Look at Star Citizen, for example. We just talked about that. That kickstarted for, its initial goal was what, $1 million? Was that the kickstart? And I mean, they obviously started with more modest goals, but I wonder how realistic it was for them to even hit those modest goals with that $1 million kickstart. I almost wonder if they knew from the beginning that they were going to have to continually pull in more funding somehow in order to finish even the most modest parts of the game.
Right, but it's not just about needing more money to finish the game. It's about being upfront with your employees, being upfront with everybody around you, right? And doing all this. So I think that's what smells the most from this whole thing.
What about Oculus? If Oculus didn't get the windfall that they got, were they misleading their employees as well? Like, for all we know, from everything we've read and on what all the experts have said about Oculus, there was no way they were going to get to market with anything reasonable based on the funding that they already had. That they needed the funding that they got from Satan to actually complete their project. So, I mean, is Oculus in the same boat here? Did they do just as bad a thing, except they got lucky and won?
Well, it depends on how they did it with their employees and their investors. I mean, they went out and got more investment. They could have created, I think, what they, enough to fulfill their Kickstarter backers, and to do that, and they could have come out with a very overpriced 3D virtual reality device
that would have had no penetration and that would have never been adopted as a standard because it didn't have the funding and the distribution behind it for the game studios to be able to get behind. Like, to be this, like, I'm almost wondering where I'm going with this is I wonder how unusual this practice is. Like, how many game companies out there, forget even game companies period, jump into the pool saying we're going to do all these great things. We've got all these great ideas and that's all we really need when they know full well from day one that they only have a fraction of the resources that they actually need.
That's actually
I've
a
heard
really
several
good point.
stories about gaming companies that were on the brink of bankruptcy daily and just didn't tell their employees and finally pulled through and were successful. And then afterwards, hindsight, like, oh my God, you guys never realized how close we were to closing down. I'm not naming names, but I'm not even sure if because this was told to me in confidence at a drink about it from a CEO from a big gaming company. Like, oh, we had so many times,
Right.
so often that we were sitting in the office almost crying and then walking outside and just smiling to our employees like, never better, guys, but knowing that tomorrow it could literally be over. So this happens all the time.
Doesn't make it okay.
No,
Yeah, don't get
but
me
it
wrong.
happens.
It doesn't make it less stinky, but I don't think this is unique to 38 Studios.
No. Harry, last story of the day.
And you sound like you're ready for the last story of the day. Okay, this
Well,
is
after Bill's Satan comment, I think we need to end things off here.
Hey.
well, once you invoke the Dark Lord, I mean, but I'm not sure my ex-girlfriend listens. But
Oh, heretic!
anyway, yeah, the devil is a woman. She's overweight. But I'm not bitter. No. Okay. Warhammer 40k is in development. And it's an IP that I know Chris is excited about. And personally, I am too, because it's a great universe. And after the announcement that Warhammer Online is closing, we need our Warhammer Online fix. Warhammer 40k promises to be a game of huge scale. They're using a server technology called the Pico server technology, which allows for thousands of players in the same battleground. Now that is big. Actually, this technology was used in a world record for the most concurrent players in a single zone. So it's not just talk. They have done this. They have proven this technology. It's, I think, a Swedish company that developed it, and I'm even more excited by this because Warhammer just screams major big battles between orcs and humans. It just sounds fantastic, and then with sci-fi weapons, obviously.
That
This
sounds
is the
like
40k
fun.
license.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Like a lot
But
of fun.
and I really hope that this will be Twitch based and that this will be skill based and not cooldown based, because that would suck. I'm kind of tired of that.
I have a feeling, and I think I like it, that space games, and I consider Warhammer 40k to kind of fall into that, even though it's slightly different, are replacing zombies and zombie games and that kind of thing. Like we had a long run of the battling the undead type of thing, and I feel like we're like this is the new trope that's really gonna stick, and I'm hoping it sticks for a couple of years because I've always preferred that atmosphere to. Well, I just got sick of zombies. I'll just say that. I think most people or many people did. So less space or more space, less zombies.
Can I make a prediction here?
Yes, please do.
Shoot.
I'm going to say that we are on the brink of a huge renaissance of science fiction in media.
Oh, I hope so. Guardians of the Galaxy, baby. Sorry.
We already see, we see it in things like that. But in books, there is a bigger than ever demand. Well, not than ever, because the 50s and 60s were still the golden age of science fiction. But science fiction books are selling again. Science fiction movies are being made, and I think the Star Wars and Star Trek in cinemas are just the first vanguard of a huge resurgence of the genre, which is great because I'm sick to death of orcs and elves and magic and guys with long beards and pointy hats.
Well, think about this here for a sec. You mentioned Star Wars. Star Wars is coming out. The first movie of the
New
I
trilogy.
guess you can't call it the the prequel. It's the postquel or the
It's the actual
epilogue.
4th Star Wars film.
Okay. So this is happening. What's its role in it? Is it riding the resurgence of interest in science fiction or the wave that you see coming from science fiction, or is it causing that wave? Is the fact that there is a new Star Wars coming out actually feeding the general public's lust for new science fiction games?
I think it's a combination. I do know in literature, in books, this resurgence has been going on for a couple of years now. And I do think that Star Wars will push it over the edge back into the mainstream in a bigger way, especially if they are successful. And I have high hopes. But I think it's a combination. I'm looking forward to that. The fact that we're seeing a resurgence of the space shooters like Star Citizen, which is an amazing science fiction concept, and Elite Dangerous, it gives me high hopes that we are moving towards a future where we're actually playing games in the future rather than in the... And have you ever noticed how incredibly unfantasy most fantasy games are? There is not a fan. Never mind. I'm not going to go on a rant on this.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
I do believe that's the soft, gentle, sonorous tones of Layanor snoring we hear in the background.
No, it ain't.
That's what you've done to him, Harry.
By saying science fiction is awesome.
I said
Yeah.
they have to put World of Darkness to bed because that's canceled, and I've been looking forward to that for a couple of years. I think I'm going to be adopting this one as my number one looking forward to.
Wildstar?
No.
Elite Dangerous?
Wildstar? Wildstar.
I'm going to keep my job. Wildstar.
Words with Friends?
Yeah!
We're
Wildstar
gonna have words with
2013 Game of the Year.
Get me a code.
Wildstar cannot possibly be the 2013 Game of the Year.
Well,
First of all,
I'm sorry,
that was
damn it.
Final
If Final
Fantasy
Fantasy 14 got it, then god damn it, anything could be it.
Final
Doesn't matter if
Fantasy
it's
14
released or not.
was the actual Game of the Year, officially democratically chosen, and in hindsight, absolutely correct.
Democracy
Wildstar-
is for patsies.
Wildstar might be the Game of the Year next year.
Definitely.
Well,
will
maybe
be.
expansion of the year next year, because this year, Game of the Year, obviously Elite Dangerous.
Okay. So, just want to take a quick second to thank our sponsors, Doghouse Systems, because I'm going to shut you two up. Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com. Use the coupon code MMOReporter and get double your RAM. You really want to go check them out. You're looking for a new PC. Go check them out. Double your RAM for the same price that you're paying. You pay for 8, you get 16. It's fantastic. And their systems are kick-ass. So you really want to check it out. And of course, Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and you can try out their great service where you get one audiobook per month for free for a month. So you get one audiobook and you get to keep that forever. Bill, if people want to contact us, how would they do that?
There's a multitude of ways. Head over to MMOReporter.com to check out the general hub of MMO Reporter goodness, as well as all the other related shows on the network. You can send us emails to mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can find us over on Facebook.com/MMO Reporter. The Twitters are all over MMO Reporter. You can tweet us all at either at MMO_reporter, at Harry Hall, at Layanor, or at MMO Bill, yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778 from your old analog technology phone. Or if you want to step into the future, click on that little widget on the right side of the page of MMOReporter.com and leave us a message. Let us know your thoughts and jump onto the show with us. And finally, you can head over to youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network to just see all the MMO Reporter goodness, including episodes of podcasts and coverage of conventions, game streaming, and all kinds of other amazing MMO reporter stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill, for a fantastic show.
I am thrilled to contribute to this. I'm pretty sure this show was an A+.
And Harry, as always, an absolute blast to have you on.
I apologize for my lack of
Common
coherence.
sense. Taste in games.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall like that.
I like the wrong things, I know.
You do. And of course, thanks, Layanor.
I've never gotten an A+ before.
There you go. Good for you. Good for you.
Good little star and a smiley face.
Yep.
For you, Layanor, it's an A+ for effort.
And we've
That's the worst kind.
We've unfortunately run out of time, so we'll have to get Steve on the show next time. But keep checking out, and you'll catch Steve on the show at some point. Thanks, everyone. It's been a lot of fun this week. We've really enjoyed having you around, including our chat room coming out and playing with us as we recorded. It's, as always, just an absolute blast. Thanks for downloading the podcast. We hope that you download it again next week, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at.
The thing you're selling
Doesn't need to be refrigerated.
It's like jerky. Jerky doesn't need to be refrigerated.
Well, hagelslag, as it is pronounced, which is impossible for anybody but the Dutch, is chocolate sprinkles on your bread.
Okay, say it again. Say it again. Wait. Say it again, Harry.
Hagelslag.
Do you totally drop the first H?
I was raised on
Hagelslag.
No,
hagelslag.
I'm saying hagelslag.
Hagelslag.
The G is a little bit harder.
Hagelslag.
Well, wait. The first time was the one before this was better. It was actually perfect.
Goedemorgen.
No, the word is hagelslag. That's what
Hagelslag.
it is.
Hagelslag.
I was raised on chocolate hagelslag, and especially the pink and yellow iteration of it that was basically just like puffed sugar.
Yeah, they're
I
great when you're a
am
kid.
the
That was
man
my-
who will fight for your honor.
That was the trip to my Oma's house. It's all coming back. It was a magical time.
I'll be the
So good that the
hero
magic
you've been dreaming
of Canada, thanks to our intrepid ancestors who made a trip over there in the 50s. Spreading the word of hagelslag.
Yep. That's actually
think we should
exactly
make
what happened.
No,
We should make a show, I think.
no freaking
About-
way.
Hagelslag reporter.
Yes.
I think that definitely should be a show title. I played Elite Dangerous.
What's that game
Was-
again?
Was it?
God damn it, played Elite Dangerous. Emily.
Sorry,
Okay,
that's
is
the ground-based tactical shooter, right?
Actually, I'm just gonna ignore you because you live in a continent that's wholly barbaric and unknowing of the greatness that is Elite Dangerous. There is
Hang
kind
on,
of
Harry.
this.
Was it?
Oh, and
Was
Bill's joke died and internet pauses.
Actually,
Potato.
I think the internet was just on my side because I think remarks like that should be censored. And I for one, welcome our new overlords. Anyway, Elite Dangerous is, I've played Elite back in the 80s when it came out for home computers, for microcomputers. And it was the very first free roaming space sim. And it was amazing for its day because it gave you the full freedom to explore the galaxy and trade or be a pirate or hunt other pirates or mine for ore or siphon fuel of stars. And it was a amazing game which for some people might make them think of Eve when I describe it this way.
Sounds
But
like Privateer.
Yeah. Fuck you. Actually, the game was my all-time favorite, still is. And a year ago, David Braben, one of the two original creators of the game, started a Kickstarter to do a reboot, basically. There were a couple of sequels, and I've played some of them. They never really captured the magic of the first one. Elite Dangerous is a Kickstarter, and finally it came to its alpha stages. And through the magic of being a journalist,
Oh my
I
goodness!
was
What is
allowed
up
to
with our
get into
internet?
the and I'm very happy about that. You can't hear me?
No, we heard you. It was just a super long pause in what you were saying.
Oh, I know what that is.
Stop torrenting porn.
No, it's not. I already stopped doing that.
Oh man.
Actually, okay, never mind.
That's called a second income.
What? I don't want to
Okay.
get that. I don't want to get it.
There is this joke that hookers in Belgium are required to pay a higher tax, and that's because they have a higher income. No, I messed up the joke. Please kill this because it was hookers with long legs. Never mind. Damn it. Oh, man. Could you please cut this bit out because I'm turning red literally. Okay. How can you mess up a joke like that? It's terrible.
Really great.
For porn.
I got a fast connection, so I don't have to wait.
For porn.
What? There's always
Gotta love
something
Avenue
exciting.
Q.
For porn.
I browse
Avenue
all
Q.
day and night.
For porn.
It's like
All
I'm
right.
going to 3, 2, 1 in on Elite Dangerous, okay? Because this was really messy.
For porn.
Please. Because this was really terrible with the connections and everything and the bad jokes.
Okay, go ahead.
I played 3, 2, 1 Elite Dangerous. I quit. I can't podcast anymore. I'm
This is-
broken.
This is like whoever's watching live tonight is getting the best and worst experience all rolled into one.
I know that this is all going to be in the highlights of the year bleeper episode, but we could please just get to the game that I adore so much. Is
Privateer?
that possible? Yes.
Oh, I'm such an asshole.
I
Okay.
played Privateer.
Privateer dangerous?
In 3, 2,